Pleased to be joined by my friend Ron Nicoletti from home. I'm at Gulfstream, and Ronnie, what's going on out there in Weston?
Well, just waiting for this silliness to end. I guess you could call it that. I can't wait to get back to the track, but I've been watching you guys. You and Jason have been doing a fantastic job. Of course, I try and add some insights throughout the afternoon. It's just a strange time, and looks like the racing has really been fantastic. Certainly glad we're back on the turf. Boy, we've been getting hammered by rain out west here too.
Yeah, we certainly have here as well. But looking at Saturday's Rainbow Six sequence, I have to imagine that Rainbow Six will be well over $1 million. So looking forward to that, and let's try to take it down. What do you say?
Yeah, I got a $64.80 ticket, and there's really a couple of interesting races in here. I'm interested to see how, if you used a couple of horses on the ticket, that I don't know if they're going to be a big price or not.
Yeah, me too. I'm curious. I like a couple of prices. I also have a $64.80 ticket. No singles for me in the sequence run. I thought it was a little bit tricky to potentially narrow down on anybody, but I did find a couple where I went too deep, and so that helped me keep it kind of in that middle range as far as pricing did go. But we start things off in a nice maiden special weight. Did you single anybody?
No, I did not single anybody. Did the same thing you. Started it off with three deep in a couple races. Then towards the end, I wanted to go deeper, but I wanted to keep my ticket sort of affordable. So a couple of spots. But this sixth race where we're starting it, with 6.5 furlongs, boy, there's some nicely bred horses in this race.
There certainly are. It starts in race 6.5 furlongs on the main track for 3-year-olds and up, this maiden special weight. Ron, I'm just too deep here. I'm using the 2 and the 8. The 8, I'm a Pharaoh, my top pick, but they're both coming out of the same race, so kind of a little bit of a rematch here. We've got I'm a Pharaoh by American Pharaoh, as you mentioned, nicely bred, and also using War Detonator, who's going to be second off the layoff, again, coming out of that same race. Who'd you use, Ron?
I use those two. The other one I used was the 3 Curlingo, who's a $900,000 son of Curlin, and he's a full brother to that grade one winner, Curalina. So it just bred to be really good in there, and I didn't want to get beat. Todd Fletcher, Miguel Vasquez in the saddle, so I did go 3 deep. But I think the number 8, I'm a Pharaoh, is the major player in there.
Yeah, poor I'm a Pharaoh stuck with an outside post last time, going a 6.5 furlongs. 2 narrow defeats so far, and in his debut was beaten by Cajun Brother, who's turned out to be pretty good for trainer Mike Yates. But I'm curious of what we get from Curlingo. Maybe we'll appreciate going longer down the road, but the fact of the matter is it's a really nice way to kick things off in the Rainbow Six.
Yeah, the breeding, as I mentioned, was really exceptional in that race. And, when we go to race 7, 5 furlongs in the turf, this is where I wanted to see if you use the number 3, Jade's Jelly, this one a filly against the boys.
I did. I used 3 horses in here. I used 3, 6, and 7. I did use Jade's Jelly. I thought that this one, who's a reclaim for Wesley Ward, looked pretty interesting. It looks like there's quite a bit of speed when you're going 5 furlongs on the turf. That's a typical. And it seemed to me like she could potentially sit a nice trip in here.
Yeah, we're exact agreement in here. I also used the 7 Miami Crockett, who's going for 3 in a row, and that 6 Remaster, who's going to the Bobby DeBonabon after the claim steps up today. But I thought these were the logical 3 in there. And I wasn't sure if you would use the filly against the boys, and they're coming off a little off of a layoff, but certainly with Weston Ward reclaiming his horse, he must like it.
And especially given the fact she won last time out, the race did produce 2 next out winners. I knew you'd like the key race angle. Blinkers go back on for her. She wore those in her debut with Wesley. And then the 6 and 7, just horses in good form. I felt like that was going to be the key for this 7th race.
Yeah, wouldn't leave those 3 off there. I was trying to pare that down a little bit, but I just couldn't do it in that. And as you said, race number 8, I'm glad we're back on the turf. This one at a mile into 16.
Yeah, I like this race quite a bit. This is for non-winners of 3 in life. And this race, I'm just too deep. I've got the 6 Mystical Moon and the number 10 Sir Seamus. I was wondering what kind of prices I might get. I might be a bit light in this race because this is a big field on the turf and it's a solid field. But those were the horses I liked best in here.
Well, I went 3 deep in here, and I actually have my best bet of the afternoon in here. We never get to see the morning line, and it's 8-1 on the morning line, and that's the one the verdict is in, who's going to the Bobby DeBonabon after the claim. He drops into this condition claimer, finished 3rd against those open claimers, Miguel Vasquez, inside post this afternoon, tomorrow afternoon. I don't see why this horse isn't as good as anybody else in the race. So this horse would be about 3 to 4 to 1. But I did use Sir Seamus, and I also used the number 6, Mystical Moon, going to the Victor Barboza Jr. Bond. So Victor does much better with his horses going on the main track, but I wouldn't leave that one off the ticket. So 3 deep for me with the verdict is in, the 10, Sir Seamus, and the number 6, Mystical Moon. So I got a bit of a long shot there, which is actually my best bet.
I like it. You know what? Verdict is in is my 3rd pick, and I trimmed him. And now I might be regretting that. I might have to go back there because I trimmed him and didn't use him. But I agree. I think he's in good form and could be interesting. But it's nice to have a distance turf race in there in the sequence. Back on the main track for the 9th, Ronnie, 7 furlongs. Who'd you use in this claiming race?
Well, I got my long shot in this race, so we're just keeping along, and that's the
my long shot's in here too.
Oh, I hope it's the 5, my friend Flavin, 15-1 in here.
No, you can have that one.
Well, here's my theory with that. This one is returning to its most productive racing venue. 8 races here, 3 wins, 3 seconds in the 3rd, and it's Leo Gabriel Jr. This horse did this exact thing last year. Came in from the fairground and won. So 15 to 1 on the morning line. And Leo, if you go back, and as you know, being here over the last bunch of years, when he ships in early on the meet, he does exceptionally well. I think Front Loaded is the one to beat there, a 6-time local winner. And Malibu Max, I also use. Now, these are dated claimers, so a lot of them haven't won in a while.
That's absolutely right. Good point to bring up the conditions there too. I saw that as well. I agree Front Loaded is the one to beat. But what I didn't love about Front Loaded is that he has been running at this level already. Maybe you might have some others who are kind of new faces, like your long shot shipping in, my long shots dropping in class. I took the 8 High Riverside for Antonio Sano as my long shot, but I'm 3 deep in here. I use the 7 Front Loaded as well as the number 1 Malibu Max, but I'm hoping I get my price horse with High Riverside. Antonio Sano, when he gets in a groove and he gets going, he just had a nice 2-year-old winner here. His barn has been really going well lately.
Yeah, and if you follow Antonio Sano, once he gets hot for a while, he stays hot. So we'll have a dueling long shots in the race. It's always a lot of fun in there. Now, race number 10 is where I went a little light in here, and I wanted to ask you, what are you doing with Payne Price?
Wow, I thought that was the biggest key to this race. I ended up not using him in the Rainbow Six because it's tricky. He's definitely the class of the field. He's got plenty of races on the go back. He has speed. He's in for the 62 $500,000 tag, and I was a little bit nervous about that, as it is kind of a drop given what he's been facing. And then his last couple of races have been pretty disappointing. So I didn't end up using him. I ended up 3 deep in here, Ron. I used the 1 Frenchman Street, the 3 Mai Tai One On, and the 5 Coop Tries Harder, who's my top pick. I think Jane Zabelli has a strong hand in here.
That's the one I trimmed in there, but because I did use Payne Price, because I just – this horse, it runs his best. His local record speaks for itself. 22 starts with 15 wins. But what a clunker last time out. So I think the horse to beat really is My Tai Went On, who's cutting back to the 5 furlongs in there. So, comes out of that good race with that stakes winner, Halliday, and one of my favorite horses, that next out winner, Croy. So I just thought My Tai Went On, which is not a bad thing to do with this, what's going on around here. So I went 2 deep, and this is one of the races where I wish I could go a little deeper.
Yeah, I agree. Maybe find some friends, have some coverage in the distance turf race, things like that. See if you can get that big pool. 1 race left to go, 1 mile on the turf, state bred allowance, optional claiming types. I'm 3 deep in here, Ron. We've got Ghostly Beauty, who seems to run the same race every time, but I'm worried that one day she's going to jump up and get it. I also use the 9 Yolanda's Pride and the 11 Looking Like a Queen.
Well, I close it out with 2 deep and using Yolanda's Pride and Ghostly Beauty, who's been knocking on the door, as you mentioned, in a bunch of races. Joe Bravo up there. They're hard-trying 4-year-old, just that has a little aversion to the winner's circle there. So 2 deep in with the Yolanda's Pride and the number 3 Ghostly Beauty. And as I mentioned when I was putting my ticket together, went a little light in the final couple of legs where I wish I could have gone deeper, but 64.80 is about as much as I'm going to go. But, I can use the $1 million plus tomorrow.
That sounds good. I'm 6480 as well. Good luck with your ticket, Ronnie. Great talking with you. And let's try to bring it down on Saturday. Rainbow Six pool will be massive and it'll be a lot of fun with these races.
Yep. Good luck, everybody.
Thanks, Ron. Thanks, everybody.